Today's video is about making and maintaining relationships for those who have autism. So, how does one go about making a relationship and friendships, and how does one go about maintaining that? Now, I've had my ups and downs with making friendships, maintaining them, all that kind of stuff, and like my interpersonal communication course that I took a while back, a few years ago, really helped me in this regard, and I'm going to share with you some of those tips. So when it comes to making friends, first impressions are very important. So my advice is to actually dress well all the time, even when you're at home. Some people they get lazy or whatever, and they dress however, and then when they're out in public, if they think they're not going to run into anybody, they dress whatever. I think it's a good idea to always be your best self, both and how you dress and how you, in all areas of life, not just dress, but also how you are outgoing and everything like that. To just stay true to yourself, but also be your best self at all times, no matter where. If you're at your house, at the grocery store, wherever, always be your absolute best. Because if you let yourself go a little bit, you're not gonna get the people. You're not gonna attract the people to you, the friends or whatever that see you at your absolute best. So first impressions are extremely important, and you never know. Maybe for some random reason somebody comes ringing at your doorbell, and they can end up being friends somehow. So it's always good to be your absolute best. Now, with that said, when you do, and I'm kind of jumping around a little bit here, when you do get to that friendship stage, if you feel like you're compromising yourself, if you feel like something causes you to not stay true to yourself, then it's not a real friendship. You should not have to feel like compromising who you are to maintain that friendship. Now, don't get me wrong. If something causes you to go out and become a better person, then the friendship is probably worth it and true. But if it causes you to do things that simply are not true to who you are, like doing drugs, or not necessarily that extreme, but just doing something that makes you feel like you're compromised, that makes you feel like less than you are, then that's not a real friendship. Because you always want friendships to help you grow as an individual. They either have to be where you are, or maybe a little bit of a nudge, maybe a little bit outside the comfort zone, but in a good way, not in a bad way. But let's go back to the making the friendship. So first impressions are very important. It's important too that you don't just talk about yourself. A lot of people with autism especially only talk about themselves. I used to have this problem myself when I'd only talk about my interest. If you only talk about yourself, no one is going to like you, chances are. People like to talk about themselves even if they don't have autism. So it's a good idea to try to get to know somebody. Give them a chance to say who they are, and then if you have some similar interest, explain your similar interest. Now, some people only like to talk about themselves and they won't listen to you. They're really, in friendships and stuff, there needs to be a give and a take. So, there needs to be a little bit of the one person explaining who they are, then a little bit of you talking about who you are, and both sides have to listen. That's another thing. When you first meet somebody, and actually throughout the friendship, you need to listen. Maybe you want to say something. Maybe you feel like you're more important than the other person, which is very common. Often feeling very important and feeling like you need to say something, but you need to listen, and don't always wait for the person to finish up just so you can say what it is that you want to say. Sometimes we have this desire to just wait for the person to finish so we can say whatever's on our mind. Try to actually listen to what the person has to say. That's what real friendships are about, and that's going to make a very good impression. So listening, you need to know the person, asking questions about their interest. Ask them about what movies do they like, are they into politics or whatever it is that they're into. Try to find out who they are. You have to dig deep for that. So, showing an interest, making a good impression, listening, those are some very big keys there to making friendships. And again, maintain the friendships. It's not about maintaining it. Don't always talk about yourself. Let the person a chance to breathe, to talk about themselves. Another thing is, don't always constantly call the person. Don't always constantly text them. People, if you constantly text somebody or constantly call them, they're going to feel smothered. They're going to hate you. They're going to feel like they're going to start feeling resentment. They're going to not want to have anything to do with you, and you won't have that friendship anymore. So it's important to give people space and time. If you're afraid of losing this friendship, or if you feel like that this person's your entire world and you can't live without them, and and you can't be away from them for 2 seconds. And I'm not talking an intimate relationship. I'm just talking a basic friendship here, because some of us with autism have some serious issues with our friends where we can't let them go and have 2 minutes. If we can't let them go, they're gonna leave. Because you become so you feel that they're so important, and then you try to beg them to not leave, and that only makes them feel worse, and it causes a lot of problems. So do not make them feel smothered. Do not beg them to not leave or whatever. If I see one of the biggest issues I see with some people with autism is that when they get that friend, is that they smother that friend. They constantly call that person. They constantly text that person. They're constantly in that person's face, in their space, everything. And so that causes that person to feel icky, because oh my God, and it's and then of course when they start to try to back away, you come on even stronger, and that even makes things even worse, because you're even stronger than you were before, and that trust me, that only causes more problems. It's a good idea. There has to be a balance, and you have to learn that. I can't tell you how to do that. The best way to learn is to actually have someone that tries to smother you yourself. Because I had somebody that was very smothering, always calling me and stuff, and so that's how I know what it's like. But if you have not had that experience, then it's hard for you to really know if you're being in someone's face. But I recommend only calling somebody once or twice in the day. And if you call them 2 times, don't make the conversations too long. Don't make them more than half an hour, 45 minutes at the absolute most. Don't send more than a few text messages in a day. It's and just and especially don't beg that person or tell them to leave or whatever. Don't do that. So that's one of the keys, because if you guys have enough in common, there's no need to smother that person. There's no need to always be in that person's face, and it's a good idea to try to make other friends too. So hopefully this video was of help to somebody. Anyway, thank you for watching. I wish everybody a most awesome day of awesomeness. Thank you.